Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. And after another tough Phillies loss, we're going to discuss why the Phillies' Aaron Nola issue could extend much longer than just this season.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You may know me for some of my other work in the sports talk space. I've been on air over at 97.5 The Fanatic, doing sports talk radio for a little over 5 years here in Philadelphia. I've been a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member for 4 seasons, and this is now my 4th year as the host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure that you're rating and reviewing if you're listening to this in podcast form. We're available wherever you get your podcasts. Also, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. It'll get you notifications when new episodes are posted. It's free. It's easy. It also really helps us out on Locked On Phillies, so thank you to everyone who's done that, everyone who's going to do that. And, of course, thank you to Game Time, who brings you today's episode. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase with our friends over at Game Time. Another brutal Phillies loss last night, an 11-4 final. The pitching, miserable for the Fighting Phils. We're going to talk about last night's game and why this Aaron Nola problem that has popped up early on in this season is something that doesn't just affect this year. We're also going to talk about Justin Crawford. He's a name that a lot of people have been bringing up with the struggles in center field for the Phils. I'm going to tell you why it's not realistic right now. I know. We'll get to it. And then we're going to preview Game 4, believe it or not, in this series with the San Francisco Giants. Phils win today. They split the series. That's kind of what we said the expectation was going into the series, right? Well, you don't want to give up 21 runs in the 2 losses, but if you could split the series, the record won't look too bad coming out of it. Then you're going to get the Marlins next. We'll get into all of that. But the first things first, Aaron Nola was in rough shape to start the game last night. Top of the first inning, he gives up 4 runs. He walks in one of those runs. The command was not good. The movement was not there. The velocity was down. Pretty much everything that could go wrong for Aaron Nola to start the game went wrong. And now Robbie Ray tried to give it right back, and the Phillies offense made a little noise. Bryce Harper went yard again, but you can't expect your team to score 11 runs, right? Part of this is Joe Ross as well. Joe Ross comes out of the pen in the 7th. He gives up 4 runs in that inning. This is a little inside information for you here, all right? Because I got sources around baseball, and I've been doing this for a while now. Per some high-level sources connected with the team, giving up 4 runs in 2 separate innings is not going to get you to win many ball games. There it is right there, folks. But we're more looking at the Aaron Nola part of the equation right now because Aaron Nola is a guy who you expect to be this, not model of consistency because we know his performance has been up and down, but for a guy that's going to be out there consistently, that is very available, that got a big-time re-signing contract to be with the Phillies for long-term, you need good stuff out of him, especially while Taijuan Walker's still in the rotation. Ranger Suarez hopefully will work back in the next week or so to make his first start of the year, but the Phils are going to need Nola. He's an important part of this rotation. And they got strength outside of him, but he's supposed to be good. He has not been good to start the season. Now, on the velocity thing, real quick. In previous Aprils, his velocity now, which is down from last year's averages, actually on par with how he's looked in Aprils of the past. Velo-wise, he's normally a guy that when the weather heats up, he starts throwing harder, as everybody is, right? If you've never pitched, if you've never thrown a baseball consistently, just know that when it's cold, you're going to be tighter. When you're tighter, you don't get the whip you normally get. You don't get the movement. You don't get the velocity. That's just natural physics, biologics, whatever you want to call it, right? But velocity being down at this time means his command is uber important. And when his command is off, like we've seen so far this year in a lot of spots, that's going to lead to you not having good enough performances. And last night, Aaron Nola didn't have a good enough performance. The loss isn't entirely on him, but when you give up 4 runs before your team even gets to the dish, it's going to be very hard to win those games. He put them in a bad spot, and that's where everything kind of went bad for the Philadelphia Phillies from the start. I know the offense tried to fight back. The bullpen, we know the issues with the up and down there, but like Joe Ross was an offseason acquisition, right? He was not brought in here to be the guy. He's brought in here to be a guy. It doesn't mean he's off the hook. He needs to be better, as a lot of guys in the Phillies bullpen need to be better. But Nola is the main focus here because this problem with Aaron Nola is not just this season. My immediate thought last night when I saw that first inning was not, damn, they're going to lose today, or man, this Phillies team, they're struggling right now. It was, wow, you got how many more years left of Aaron Nola on this contract? He looked old, right? And maybe this is a jump reaction for me that I should not be making, but I think other people went here as well. He's on a long-term deal. And if he's going to pitch with this team until, 2031, I can't see him getting stronger. I can't see him improving on the numbers he's putting up as far as like velocity and movement and things like that. As you age, I mean, you wear down, and maybe Aaron Nola's consistency is actually a double-edged sword where, yeah, he throws a bunch of innings, which is great. But the longer you throw a bunch of innings, the more wear and tear on the tires. I don't know that that's going to be a good thing for his longevity. Now, that's not something we can determine right now. We're not to that point yet of saying the Aaron Nola contract's a bad contract. But what I will say is, if you're saddled with this deal until 2031, and he's going to be a tough guy to move with the amount that he's making, I understand fans being nervous about what Aaron Nola turns into as his career progresses. He's only made 4 starts this year. He's going to make like 22 to 24 more, hopefully, knock on wood, health dependent, and he's been pretty darn dependable. So he's got plenty of time to come out of it. But a lot of people jumped on Aaron Nola last night, rightfully so for the performance, but also because he's been one of these polarizing figures in his time with the Phillies. This crazy upside that we saw in 2018, we saw last year. We saw, it seems like, alternating years in his time here in Philadelphia. The Aaron Nola roller coaster makes you believe there's more in there. His postseason has been solid in his performances that he's gotten in October. But these are the things that should worry you. And I don't blame anybody who's annoyed by the ups and downs of Aaron Nola. It's a tough mental exercise for fans because you think he should be this good. He's not consistently that good. The numbers even out to being pretty darn good. What in the world is he? Now, this is a different worry, though, because it's not inconsistency. This is he aging? Is he starting to hit the back nine? And if that's the case, it's pretty early into that new contract for him to do that. And remember, just last year was the year he was given the new contract. So 1 year in, we're already having conversations about the future. That is not good. Now, here's the silver lining, right? Even though I'm worried about Aaron Nola in the moment, and I'm worried about Aaron Nola long-term, he has worked out of stretches like this in the past. So I'm not ready to write the book on Aaron Nola's 2025 season. He needs to be better. And he said so after the game, talked about his command, said he can't be walking runs in. He has walked in his career 3 times, walked runs in. 2 of those have been this season. He's only made 4 starts. Not a good sign for one Aaron Nola. So if the command goes for a guy that doesn't throw all that hard, you got major issues. And long-term, I don't know that those get better as you age. Like, that's not the typical life of a starting pitcher. When you get older, I mean, look what you did to Justin Verlander in game 2 of this series. You don't improve, right? It's regression. It's age-related regression. And that's something absolutely to worry about. But I promised you a silver lining. Here it is. The Philadelphia Phillies have Zach Wheeler locked down long-term. They have Christopher Sanchez locked down somewhat long-term, right? He's got his contract extension midseason last year. He's going to be here for a while. They're going to have Andrew Painter under team control for a while. That's already 3+ arms. And yes, I am considering Andrew Painter a ++ arm before he even throws his first major league inning. We'll see how that plays out. I have high confidence in him as a young pitching prospect who we're going to see at some point this year. Speaking of prospects, we will talk about Justin Crawford, who's probably the closest to the majors of the young players, Miller, Crawford, Painter. But anyway, back to Aaron Nola. You have those 3 guys, and you have Jesus Luzardo, who's not an old player, who has been really good this year. Now, will the Phillies be willing to give him a long-term deal? I don't know. The thing that's going to determine that most is how available he is this season. If he's healthy and he pitches like this, they damn well better pay him because Ranger Suarez is heading to free agency, and I can't imagine the Phils will re-sign Ranger Suarez with the injury concerns around him. But with Luzardo, Sanchez, Wheeler, Painter, those are 4+ major league arms. And I'm not talking like they're slightly above average. I'm talking those guys are good, right? They are nasty pitchers, and you can potentially have those guys all locked down. Luzardo is the only question mark. The other 3 guys are locked down. So if you have 4 guys like that, you could do much worse than Aaron Nola as your 5th arm. The problem is right now, he's not your 5th arm, right? I argued, I can't believe I'm bringing this back up because it was dumb and nobody's called me on it yet, but I'll call myself on it because integrity, you know how that works. We had an argument on the podcast, like I talked about, who's the second best pitcher behind Zach Wheeler because he's a no-brain one. And I said, well, Aaron Nola has been around, done it more proven success than Christopher Sanchez, who had a great breakout year last year, or than Ranger Suarez, who was already hurt, or than Jesus Luzardo that was coming off of an injury. That looks pretty stupid right now through 4 games, saying Aaron Nola is the second best pitcher on this team. But if it plays out that over the length of his contract, he's the 5, you can do much, much worse than Aaron Nola is the 5. Right now, we're not sure how good Christopher Sanchez is going to be this year. We know he's going to be good, but where's that ceiling? We don't know how long Jesus Luzardo is going to be healthy for. We hope it's the whole season, but you never know. We haven't seen Ranger Suarez pitch yet. Taijuan Walker's in the rotation. Painter is not up with this team. Nola has to be one of the guys. And if he's not, you're going to have a rough start to the season. The Phillies, they haven't had too rough of a start to the season, but Aaron Nola certainly has. So the Phillies Aaron Nola issues that you're feeling right now, they could be longer term. It's not good to have a guy making that much money being your 5, but if you have to live with it, it's not like a nuclear bomb for the franchise. Right now, he's not giving you the best opportunity to win games, even though he's had a start or 2 that were solid. Not getting run support when he pitches well, is getting some run support when he gets shelled. Story of the Phillies right now, some of their big guys just can't buy one. That's going to happen. It just sucks it's happening this early, and it's happening with multiple guys right now with this team. We'll talk in the final segment about how they can bounce back, but another spot where there's a couple guys majorly struggling, center field. Brandon Marsh, Yohan Rojas. We'll talk about their missteps last night, an interesting decision for the manager, and then the Justin Crawford quotient of the conversation, because a lot of people want him called up. Sorry, folks, but I'm going to talk to you about why that's not reality in this moment right now for multiple reasons. We'll discuss that as we continue today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Let's talk about a little Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. How easy is that? You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Listen, that's what I'm doing every night of my week when I'm not watching the Phillies. Lead up to the game, after the game, Black Ops 6. I kill time with that, playing with my buddies. It's awesome. And to be able to do that in such an easy way, it's as easy as it is to stream your favorite TV shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. They got Wi-Fi 6/6E and auto low latency mode advanced technology. Basically what that means is it's quick. It's going to give you all of the no lag you got to worry about here, right? Lightning fast speeds to connect. Endless entertainment. It's affordable. It's portable, so you're not packing everything away if you want to take your games on the road. I mean, you've got some great chances to up your gaming experience. Just make it much more simple. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, second gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, that's first and second gen, and Fire TV Cube, which is their third gen. Go ahead and check out the Amazon Fire Stick TV. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of the ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. There might be some people who are mad at the Phillies that are selling tickets right now. Well, Game Time has last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, and Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Game Time gets closer, meaning those folks getting out of their seats, well, you're going to get it at the best possible deal. It's an awesome way to buy tickets, not just for baseball games. All sports, comedy, concerts, theater, anything you want to go to, you need a ticket. Game Time's basically the place to do it. Those last minute tickets, they almost like hit better than the plan. You plan everything out, you build up all these expectations, and then you got to go through all the trouble of like, yeah, how do we get there? And this and the other thing. The spontaneous ones are like, throw caution to the wind. We can get tickets through Game Time. Easy, cheap. Let's do it. You take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with our friends over at Game Time. All right, this Justin Crawford thing has taken on a new life, especially after last night, because last night you had Johan Rojas starting in center against the lefty Robbie Ray, and he actually roped a double down the left field line in his second at bat. Great piece of hitting. Barreled the ball, gets to second, tags up to third, creates havoc on the base pass. That's when Johan Rojas is at his best. Awesome. You'll love to see that. And I'm not saying don't play Johan Rojas because Brandon Marsh needs to play. No, that ship has sailed to start the season. Brandon Marsh has been really, really bad as well. But Johan Rojas, the ball dropping in center field in Atlanta was a miserable, miserable mistake. And I know some of you might be like, you can't keep killing him for that. Well, those mistakes can't happen. Very well could have cost you a game in a Zach Wheeler start. And last night, he made another bad mistake where he made a play in center field, fielded a ground ball, a single through, and just threw the ball up the line that hit off the batting circle mat, caromed into the Giants' dugout, cost runs for Aaron Nola, who really needed all the defense he could get last night. It was a miserable, miserable defensive play from a guy who's supposed to be a defensive specialist. Following that, well, they pinch hit Brandon Marsh against a righty reliever, which they could sell his handedness. I think part of it was the bad play in center by Rojas. And some people might say, well, that's not fair. Marsh is getting all these opportunities. He came into the season and they said he was their starting center fielder. That gives you more opportunity, unfortunately, to mess up. And that's just the reality of it. It's not Little League. It's not like he plays 3 innings, he plays 3 innings, he plays 3 innings. No, playing time's not equal at the major league level, folks. The player that they believe in more, has the more upside, is going to play more. Now, Brandon Marsh right now is a mess as well. He comes into the game, does not get a hit, goes out in the outfield, falls over trying to field a ball, like slips somehow. I don't know, man. The center field position for the Phillies looks like the bad news bears right now. And that's why fans are calling for Justin Crawford to come up and play center field. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to consider when you look at the Justin Crawford call-up situation. I witnessed this argument today at the radio station where people were arguing, well, you should call up Crawford now, but they won't because of a money issue. And the other side was arguing, well, it's not just a money issue. It's also they want him to work on stuff. Both of these things can be true, right? But here's what it is with the Justin Crawford call-up, why it's not going to happen, because the Phillies are not ready for him. He's not ready for the Phillies by the organization's determination. Now, as far as calling players up, have the Phillies had a good track record of handling that over the past couple of years? I believe they have. To anyone who's saying the only reason they're doing this is money or service time or anything like that, look back to 2022. Right? 22? I believe so. Might have been 23. Bryson Stott, in his first year, his rookie season, he was in the opening day lineup. He was on the opening day roster. That was a guy that they could have held back for service time. They chose not to because they felt he was ready and they wanted him to help the team. Right? They do not just constantly hold guys out for the sake of holding guys out. They have in the past sacrificed service time to get guys to the major league level. So Bryson Stott is the pure example of saying this is not an organizational philosophy that we need that service time. Now, it could be. I'm just saying to say blatantly, blindly, that the only reason they're doing this is money or service time, it's not factual based on their track record. Now, if you believe Crawford is ready, here's what I'm going to tell you. Unless you are watching this guy constantly at the AAA level, and seeing what he's doing every day and going to these games. Like, I'm not talking about looking at the box score because we know box scores don't tell the full story. That's why you watch the Phillies to decide, hey, was this a good at bat or bad at bat? If they get out or get a hit, it could be either or. Things happen. Like, unless you're doing that and going to all the Lehigh Valley games, like, you don't know if he's ready. You know what you're doing? You're looking at two guys you don't like in Marsh and Rojas, and I get it. They have both not been good this year so far. And you're saying, well, I'll take anything besides them. So I'm going to tell myself that Justin Crawford is ready when you don't know. The Phillies organization called up Rojas when they wanted him, and he was a good defensive replacement when they did. They called up Orion Kerkering, and he was good when they did. And Orion Kerkering went from A-ball to pitching in the National League Championship Series. They'll call guys up when they're ready. And if they think Justin Crawford needs to wait, he needs to wait. You don't want to put the kid in an uncomfortable position, right? And the commentary on that would be, well, he's not going to be. This fan base is going to love him. The bar's so low, anything different will be like enjoyable for the fan base over Marsh and Rojas and how they've started the season. I get it, but it's not just about the fans cheering for him. It's about mentally what it's like to go through facing Major League pitching for the first time. Brought up the Jackson Holiday example multiple times. I'll bring it up again. He was the perfect prospect. And the Orioles brought him up last year, and he struggled, and they had to send him back down. Like, he could not hit Major League pitching. Then he came back up later and was okay. Like, there's no perfect exact science to this, and you have to treat every player different. You have to know the mental makeup of the player. And I have, based on their recent track record, faith in the Phillies organization to determine when that time is. Will Justin Crawford play at the Major League level this year? I would be floored if he didn't. Will it be in April? I would be floored if it was. And I know Brandon Marsh has minor league options, so you can send him down, but I don't think we're to that point yet, right? I don't think we're there. And you might say, oh, well, when is that point? You're treating baseball season like football season. Take a deep breath, give it a little time, let the Phillies make the determination on the kid. They will bring him up when they feel he is ready. And they will not allow this season to completely be torpedoed by the center field position. They have to make a move at some point. I firmly believe they will make a move at some point. It has gotten so bad that there's no way they can't make a move at some point. So we will see what the future holds for that position. But Justin Crawford is not happening today. It's not happening tomorrow. It's probably not happening this month. Like, you're going to have to wait this out, which is why the Phillies need everything they can get from other positions, and that's going to be the focus going forward. And anything you get from the center field spot should be a little bonus time, right? That's not great to say, but it's the reality of their situation right now. Do not let one bad apple ruin the bunch, though, right? And I'm not saying Marsh and Rojas are trying to do this. I'm just saying you have a solid baseball team. You can't let like one hole be the focus of everything when they have so many other good players. They got to start winning games for us to truly take stock into that, but they're going to win games, right? They're going to win baseball games. I promise you, this is still a playoff team. The Phillies, they're going to be okay long-term. They're just in a tough spot right now, especially with that center field position. Justin Crawford is not today's answer. He could be this season's answer. You're just going to have to kind of bide your time here for the time being. I know it's unfair because you as a fan want to see better center field play. It's what we're dealing with right now, okay? So you're going to have to stomach it, and we're going to have to watch one of them probably play center field again today in the final game of a 4-game set against the San Francisco Giants. We're going to talk about Game 4 and how the Phillies could still split the series as we wrap up today's episode. Let's go ahead and talk about our friends over at Prize Picks, because basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up. There's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more, for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. I have not been picking well this week for you, so maybe fade all of this stuff that I've been saying, go against what I'm saying. Here's the key, though. Like, anybody can do this. Anybody can win with Prize Picks. The interface is super simple. It takes less than a minute to put together your lineup with Prize Picks. And with so many sports and players to choose from, you're going to find something out there that you like. Go through all the options. Pick your best one. You only need a couple of picks to find yourself some money. That's why Prize Picks is so great. Download the app today. Make sure you use code LOCKEDONMLB, and you'll also get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Game 4 of the Philadelphia Phillies series with the San Francisco Giants is today, a 4:05 p.m. first pitch in the series ender. So we have that kind of middle afternoon game, a weird time. Shadows may be weird. I don't know. It depends the sun and the time of the year. I'm no meteorologist, but weird game times normally mean weird hitting experiences. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse because both teams have to face that. Now, both teams don't have to face Christopher Sanchez. Christopher Sanchez is on the bump for the Phils. He's 1-0 this year with 3.12 ERA, and in 17 and a third innings, he struck out 19. Jordan Hicks is on the mound for the Giants, a right-handed pitcher, which plays to the Phillies' strength. They can get the lefties back in the lineup. Bryson Stott had a day off last night. The Kyle Schwarber thing was weird, by the way. I hated that he was in left field, but I'd brought it up before on the radio, and I believe I mentioned it on the podcast, where 16 games in 16 days, you're going to see weird lineup moves just to kind of give guys days, whether it's right or wrong at the time. That's the thought process. They're not like all of a sudden saying, well, Kyle Schwarber's our left fielder. They're just kind of trying to get guys days because JT, you still wanted him to hit. He DH'd last night. Rafael Marchand was behind the dish. Marchand has not been good to start. For all you people that were like, Garrett Stubbs stinks, he's the problem with this team. Marchand hasn't been much better, but he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities, so I'm not crushing him yet. He just, that's a weird lineup yesterday. You should see pretty much everyone back in for the, not rubber match, but the potential split match of the Phillies and Giants series. And I think they can get after Jordan Hicks. You remember I said, I was spot on yesterday with what the Phillies needed to do to attack Robbie Ray with the being patient, had a good amount of walks. Well, that's not so much Jordan Hicks, but Jordan Hicks has given up a good amount of contact. His walks, he's only got 6 in his 15 and third innings pitched, but he doesn't have too many strikeouts, 14. Striking out basically 1 an inning. That number could go up with the way the Phillies have swung the bat, but they've been putting together better at-bats against right-handed pitchers, and they can get after Jordan Hicks. Bryce Harper is starting to show signs of heating up. So maybe this could be just one of those Bryce Harper takeover games. Kyle Schwarber, he's probably due to go yard. Look at those guys near the top of the lineup that are probably going to be batting 1 and 3. Or actually, sorry, not 1 and 3, 3 and 4, because they'll probably go Stott in the leadoff spot again, lefty against the righty. Turner batting second would be my guess. But the Phillies offense has started to come together a little bit, significantly more so than they were in the Atlanta series and in the series against the St. Louis Cardinals, where they were shut out twice. Like coming out of the series, I'm not saying, well, the offense is still struggling, right? They've started to put together good at-bats and create run-scoring opportunities. They just need it all to come together. You need to not have a starter that absolutely soils themselves right off the rip, like you've seen from Taijuan Walker and Aaron Nola the last couple nights. And you need the offense to continue to be productive. And I think they can do that. Now, we've learned in this series a couple things about the San Francisco Giants. One, while they are a team that can strike out, they create hard contact a lot. The Giants are a good baseball team, man. That's one of my main takeaways from this series. They got a shot to make some noise out there in the NL West. The Dodgers still exist, so they're not going to win that division, but the Giants are no slouch team. So this is not like you're doing this against the Marlins or the White Sox or teams you're going to see later on in the season. You see the Marlins coming up starting on Friday. But the other thing that I learned is you do not want to mess with the Giants bullpen. They have a darn good bullpen, maybe one of the best bullpens in baseball, and they've looked like it in this series. I'd like to see them get to Jordan Hicks, get an early lead, and then you're going to have to hold that lead because the Phillies, who were great against bullpens to start the year, have not had much success against the San Francisco Giants bullpen. So get Schwarber and Harper going, or rather keep them going. Get to Jordan Hicks. Don't wait around and try and get to the bullpen because the bullpen's been killing you. And also, Christopher Sanchez just needs to not implode off the rip, right? You got to get through the first 2-3 innings relatively clean. A run in there, okay. A 4-run inning, 3, 4, 5 runs given up over the course of those 3 innings, that's disheartening for players, and it forces people to have more aggressive at-bats and be more aggressive on the base path. It just puts your team behind the 8 ball. Nobody likes to be behind the 8 ball. So those are the keys to going out there. And the funny thing is, tomorrow, if the Phillies are able to win this game later on this afternoon, we're going to have a conversation about them splitting with the team that came in as one of the best record in baseball teams early on in the season. And like I said, I think the Giants are a good team. Like all of these emotional roller coasters could end up at even if you just win today's game with one of your better pitchers on the mound and the offense starting to show signs of putting together better overall performances. So the Phillies are not a bad baseball team. They have some holes right now. They don't have a lot of options to fill those holes at the current time. But sometimes dramatic examples will lead to guarantees of changes later on in the season. Maybe this does force Dave Dombrowski into being more aggressive than we've seen him be in the past at the deadline or with call-ups, guys like Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford and the opportunities that they'll get once they're up at the major league level. But nobody's doing anything in mid-April. We're not to that point of the season yet. At least let us get through like a month's worth of the season before we start ripping this team down to the studs. Okay? That's just my plea for Phillies fans that I know will fall on some deaf ears and some people will understand that it's still early. But hopefully they go get a win tonight, because whether it's early or not, I'm not happy watching my team get smoked and give up 11 runs. Let's not do that again tonight. Agree? Cool? We all on the same page? All right, that's all for today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Thank you so much for joining us. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff that really helps us out here on Locked On Phillies. And I will talk to you tomorrow on our next episode.